welcome to Election Commission of India. Today the second phase of polling of Gujarat is over, and to brief you about the polling and other aspects of the elections, we have Mr. Umesh Sinha, Senior Deputy Election Commissioner, who is in charge of Gujarat election also. Mr. Sandeep Saxena, Deputy Election Commissioner, Mr. Sudeep Jain, Deputy Election Commissioner, and Mr. Dilip Sharma, who is also Deputy Election Commissioner, and with us is Mr. Rajesh Malhotra, AGG PIB, sorry. And now I request Sinha sir to speak, and question and answer will be taken after everybody speaks. Thank you very much.
Very good evening, media friends. On behalf of the Election Commission of India, I would like to give you update about the second phase of elections held in Gujarat today. The second phase of elections in Gujarat consisted of 14 districts comprising of 93 assembly constituencies. These 14 districts for the today's poll: Banaskantha, Patan, Mashana, Arauli, Sabarkantha, Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, Anand, Kheda, Mahisagar, Panchmal, Kahor, Vadodara, and Chota Udaipur. The main highlights of the today's elections are like that. In today's poll, we had 25,575 polling stations and 14,523 polling stations, polling locations. In that, about 2.23 crores were the voters, which included also 12,423 service electors. Today's the total number of electors in the AST list was 2.75 lakhs, 2.575 lakhs. The total 851 candidates contested today's election, out of which 68 are the female candidates. If you want to know the figures of the candidates, it's like this. In today's election, BSP had 75 candidates, BJP had 93 candidates, the Communist Party of India had 1 candidate, Indian National Congress had 91 candidates, National Congress Party had 28 candidates, Communist Party of India Marxists had 3 candidates, registered and unrecognized political parties 210 candidates, and independent were 350. In total, we had 851 candidates who contested in the election today. The 100% electors were issued the card, and 100% was photo voter slip. So percentage of photo also in the electoral was 100%. The EVM and VVPAT in this total of 24,689 CUs and 26,865 VUs were used. 24689 CU and 26865 VUs. 26865. 26,865. Barring few minor incidences, the poll was held totally peacefully in the poll phase. On the conclusion of the poll, I would like to compliment all the voters, especially the youth and the gender voters, persons with disability, and the senior citizens who participated in this election. Also like to especially compliment the thousands of the members of the electoral machinery, state machinery, from the grassroots level, the polling station, to the office of the DOs and the COs, who worked incessantly for last few months to hold the election peacefully and freely and fairly. I would also like to thank all the central general observers, police observers, and expenditure observers, and a large number of micro observers and other observers who were deputed by the observers for the monitoring and supervision of the election. I'd also like to thank the state level police officials and the members of the central police forces who worked hard to conduct the peaceful election. Last in the list is definitely all the political parties, candidates, and the other stakeholders. And especially would like to thank media for proactive partnership in generating voter awareness in Gujarat. As far as the deployment of observers concerned, we have deployed 55 general observers, 40 expenditure observers, and 15 police observers for the supervision of the various activities. 4,204 micro observers were deployed, and about 1,25,000 polling personnel were deployed. More than 75,000 police personnel were deployed. In this phase, 1,09,077 postal ballots were issued to the polling personnel, out of which more than 50,000 persons cast their vote. And this time webcasting was done in a large number of critical polling stations. In total, from 1,748 locations, the webcasting was done. As a part of expenditure monitoring, the following actions were taken. The search and seizure was to the tune of 2.52 crores, and the search of seizure of the liquor was to the point of 10.15 lakh liters. Other details I will request Mr. Sharma to speak when he would like to speak about the various issues relating to expenditure management. We have the figures of the turnout which we have received from Gujarat. The turnout which has been this is the interim report which we have received so far. The final figures may differ a little bit when late in the evening. All the exact details come from every polling station. But the information which we have received so far, the average turnout for phase 2 is 68.70%. So
8.7?
68.70. Total, yeah, this is the total figure which has been received so far.
No, this is both phase or part
No,
one?
second phase.
Only
Second phase. For the first phase, we had told the figure of 68%, but final figure is 66.75%. 75% for the first phase. So with the second phase final figures coming, then we would be able to know the actual state.
As of now, it's 68.7, right?
Yes, you're right. District-wise, the turnout figures are like this. For Banaskantha, it is 74%. For Patan, it is 66%. For Mehsana, it is 75%. For Sabarkantha, 77%. Arauli is 66%. Gandhinagar, 65%. Ahmedabad, 63%. Anand, 73%. Kheda, 70%. Mahisagar, 65%. Panchmahal, 72%. Dahod, 60%. Vadodara, 73%. And Chota Udaipur, 70%. So that brings to an average total of 68.7% for the second phase. I would also like to state here that a large number of state district icons, members of the educational institutions, youth, and the civil society organizations, they work very hard for the voter awareness and the EVM VVPAT awareness. We would like to give a big thank to all those citizens who participated in the awareness of the voters during the process of registration and also for the process of participation. I would also like to inform you here that a lot of modern IT initiatives were taken during this election, and all the major activities were monitored online, especially the grievances, the permissions to the political parties, the transport management, the management of polling personnel, the security forces, the dispatch and inform of the polling personnel information, and then the poll turnout, SMS based, the ERO net was used, and now at the time of counting also we would be showing you the very quickly the results which come from every returning officers. All the arrangements for all the counting stations have been done properly. It has been supervised by all the observers, and the after the EVMs which are deposited in the EVM strong rooms, the political parties can keep their representatives there after the counting process. So this is a brief update about the election. I will request. Okay. Polling percentage which was about 72% on average in last election.
Second phase.
No, that cannot be told exactly, because then the districts were not the same. So number of districts increased. So yeah, yes. So we will give you the comparative figures also soon, as soon as we get the final figures. I request Mr. Sandeep Saxena to kind IT background update of the initiatives which was taken up by the Commission.
Thank you very much. Good evening, friends. The IT system was used very effectively in the Gujarat elections. Today, in 93 ACs, which were spread over 14 districts, we had the very peaceful election. 4,204 number of observers, they were deployed, and on the online observer portal, continuously we monitored the minutest possible activities which took place during the day, and completely the observers were present wherever there was any issue there. The complaint is one of the grievance redressal is one of the most important aspect of the conduct of election, and national grievance system in the close collaboration with the state contact center and district contact center was operated during the elections, and 9,304 number of total complaints which were received during the second phase of Gujarat election. 9304 number of complaints which are received were disposed well within the time of 24 hours immediately by the administration. Under single window system for campaign related permissions by the contesting candidates and the political parties, which we call Suvidha, 4,081 number of applications, permissions were received for campaign related requests, and that was again disposed of within the time limit of 24 hours. Unique integrated decision support system for conduct of election by name Returning Officer Net or RONet was used online, and through which the DEOs and the CO of Gujarat could monitor the entire proceeding of the day very closely, related to the the polling parties reaching to their polling station, mock poll started, conducted, turnout, EVM related issues or any other issue, law and order related issue. It was continuously being monitored by the DEO, CO and the Commission whenever required. Sugam, which is a vehicle hiring system which was deployed in the first phase also, was used very efficiently during this phase also, and about 1,000 number of vehicles were hired. Their deployment, their management and also the payment would be made through the Sugam system, that is online system. Apart from that, the election monitoring dashboard continuously worked today, and all the incidents, the various turnout reports etc. were received there.
And another very important aspect is that the webcasting was done in 1748 number of polling stations, 1748, and all these were critical or vulnerable polling stations where very minutely and closely we could watch the proceedings of the polling there throughout the day. The most important intervention is the e-payment model which was deployed in Gujarat this time, and all the polling personnel, the police security personnel, service providers, as well as the vendors who are engaged for the election purpose, they are being made the electronic payment in a time-bound manner. I will give you the number: 1,25,271. 125,271 number of people will be given e-payment during the second phase, and all put together about 2.4 lakh number of people would be getting the payment for their services through the system of e-payment. Lastly, the electronically transmitted postal ballot system, it was used for second phase also, and 12,423 number of service voters belonging to Gujarat and deployed throughout the world, they were enabled to be reached by their respective returning officers through the electronic means of postal ballot, and their ballots would be received, and on 18th we are sure that most of them, or rather all of them, would be in a position to cast their votes. Now I would be requesting my colleague Shri Sudeep Jain, DEC, to please give the feedback about the EVM and VVPAT.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Once again, in the phase 2 today, the largest deployment of VVPATs went off successfully. The EVMs and VVPATs were deployed in all the 25,575 polling stations. Minor correction from what Sana sir had said. There were a total of 27,561 ballot units which were used. 27,561 ballot units and 25,575 control units and VVPATs have been used. Elaborate arrangements were made to ensure the logistics as well as the security aspects of EVMs and VVPATs. I'll just run through quickly on how the first level checking was done by the engineers of BEL and ECIL in the presence of political parties' representatives. All non-functioning EVMs and VVPATs found at that stage were all sent back to the factory so that the same are not used in the election. Mock poll with a few votes was conducted on every functioning EVM at the time of first level checking. Additionally, 1,200 votes were cast in 1% of the EVMs, 1,000 votes in 2% of the EVMs, and 500 votes in another 2% of the EVMs in the presence of the representatives of political parties, and they were allowed to pick up these samples the way they wanted to pick up. Then only FSC OK, the first level checking, whichever machines were found OK, were randomized twice, once for the allocation of EVMs to assembly constituencies and second time to polling stations, again in the presence of the candidates or their representatives. Then candidate setting in the EVMs and VVPATs was done in fully sanitized halls in the presence of the candidates or their representatives, and once again mock poll was conducted on each of the EVMs and VVPATs as per the guidelines. Then today morning at every polling station before the start of the poll, mock poll with 50 votes was conducted successfully. After the poll, now EVMs and VVPATs will be sealed and candidates or representatives will be allowed to follow the vehicles up to the strong room if they desire to. The strong rooms will have double lock system. There will be 2 cordon security arrangement. All contesting candidates are allowed to depute their representatives to keep a close watch on security arrangements in the strong room. Now, to achieve this, as in the phase 1 we had mentioned, again there was an elaborate training which was conducted, which was provided to almost 2 lakh personnel multiple times in around 3,500 batches to ensure that the entire operations on EVMs are conducted without any glitches. The percentage of replacement, I am extremely happy to share, has been much below the average percentage of replacement which we have seen in the past. Only 120 ballot units 102 control units and 409 VVPATs were replaced during the poll. I am repeating, 120 ballot units, 102 control units and 409 VVPATs have been replaced during the poll today, and this works out to 0.3% in ballot units and control units and 1.5% in VVPATs. All these were cases of non-functioning of EVMs, either because of the buttons getting stuck or the display or the printer or the battery failing. No case of EVM recording or printing a wrong vote. All these were replaced within a few minutes and the polls continued without any problems. Comprehensive arrangements are also in place, being made, and instructions have been given for counting, including counting of mandatory VVPAT from one polling station per assembly constituency. Apart from this, there were 3 complaints which had come today citing that the EVMs are connecting to Bluetooth. 2 complaints were given by Congress in Ahmedabad district, and 1 complaint was by a voter in Vadodara district. In Ahmedabad, I'm repeating, there were 2 complaints from Ahmedabad given by Congress and 1 complaint from Vadodara by one of the voter. In Ahmedabad, in Ghatlodia AC, oral complaint of the election agent of Congress candidate was given, and a written complaint was given by Ms. Pooja Prajapati regarding Bluetooth connection happening in booth number 294, 295 and 296, claiming that connection showing ECO 210 is being shown in the mobile phone. The complainant has given a written statement now in the presence of RO. We had sent the returning officer, the observer and their engineers. They went, verified, demonstrated that there is nothing which is wrong with the EVM. There is no such connection which is happening. This is again a case as was reported in phase 1, where some mobile phone of a nearby area, any polling official or a voter getting connected. The complainant has now given a written statement in presence of the RO and the observer stating that she is satisfied and there is no further complaints regarding the functioning of EVM. The second case was of Sabarmati AC in Ahmedabad. The complainant of Dr. Jitendra B. Patel, candidate of INC 55 Sabarmati, saying that Bluetooth signals with code Y11 is coming in some booths and some more unknown codes are coming in a few other books. It was again a similar case. A statement of Mr. Praveer as Gajjar, representative of the candidate, is recorded before the sector officer, in which he has said that he is now satisfied and has withdrawn the complaint. It was again, the team was sent. Again, it was demonstrated that there was nothing wrong with the EVMs. The third complaint came from Vadodara, where one of the voter in Sabli Assembly constituency said ECO 210 is being shown. When he was asked to give a written complaint, he refused. Once again the team went, the general observer went, they all verified there was nothing wrong which was found with the EVMs. Thank you.
A quick update about this session.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. The Commission, like always, put an elaborate mechanism in place to curb the misuse of money power during the current elections for Gujarat Assembly. A large number of measures were undertaken to prevent distribution of cash, liquor and other freebies for inducement of voters, as a result of which an unprecedented amount of seizure of cash and liquor and other precious items was made. I would like to share with you the figures of the seizures. A total cash seizure of rupees 1.89 crores was made. The liquor seizure stood at 10.52 lakh bulk liters, which was valued at rupees 25.28 crores. To 25.28 crores.
Sir, this is for both the phases or this?
This is for both the phases. Overall. And total drug seizure stood at rupees 3.5 lakh, and the precious metal seizure was worth rupees 8.13 crores. So total seizure during this current elections of Gujarat was rupees 35.34 crores.
Total paid news cases in Gujarat were 121 with this evening. 121. 141 notices were issued and finally 121 cases were confirmed as paid news.
This is for the entire state.
Entire state.
Do you have a spread for the HQ as well for the students?
I have the breakup figures here.
Just
We will be giving you.
just now.
They are already on your side. Please, now we'll take one by one.
Sir, today Election Commission has come under severe attack with political party and representatives using very strong words, particularly in reference to Prime Minister's movement outside the police station. What is the commission?
I would like to inform you that yesterday late in the night, the Congress had sought time from Commission after 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. The time was sought from the Commission to give a representation, including several allegations made by them. The Commission immediately gave them time at about 10:15 p.m. They heard the allegations made by the Congress delegation, and after that, till about midnight, the Commission deliberated and studied the certain points. And even in the thick of the conduct of the election, immediately a letter was sent to Chief Electoral Officer to submit his report by midday. And by midday, we received the report on all the points which were or allegations made by the delegation of Congress. Based on that, the matter is under examination, and Commission will soon brief about that. Even in 2 days, you are aware that Commission has to definitely put due diligence before taking any decision, because the matter, the report has been received in the midday, and in the run-up to the election, the entire election has been, Commission has been busy, and the Commission is still doing the due deliberation on the report received by the Chief Electoral Officer, and we will let you know as the Commission takes decision on this. I would also like to say that there was one matter which was said about the launch of the submarine, and we are this PM attending the event. That is not in the MCC jurisdiction, and no permission was also sought from the Commission in that respect. And because being that beyond the MCC jurisdiction, the Commission has not done to stop the event today. And one more point which you raised about 2 days, that matter also is will be examined.
So which event?
Wait a minute, the way, just let her.
My name is Deepa Raga. I'm from Nirvachan. So my question is very simple. Today the BJP has also come to the Election Commission. There was a new complaint filed today. Had they come for clarify on the PM Modi's roadshow. And secondly, Congress leaders, some of them had alleged that although they have been asking for a meeting with the Election Commission, they did not get their meeting, and therefore they had organized, complained about the roadshow which they wanted to, and they were not given a chance. So all of these allegations about the Rahul Gandhi interview and the Prime Minister roadshow, is it a violation of Code of Conduct or not? And will you be taking an action on it?
Well, I would only like to say about the today's request for meeting with the Commission. The moment the Commission was requested, the office of the Chief Election Commissioner was requested about the meeting at about 1 p.m. Then the Commission had immediately agreed, and after that they had themselves not offered to visit the Commission. The BJP delegation had come at 3:30 p.m. today, and they have made some points. Definitely some of the points relate to the allegations made by the Congress, and there are certain other points. So on this issue, obviously Commission will consider, and after due diligence take a decision.
सिन्हा साहब, जिस तरीके से इलेक्शन कमीशन की साख पर सवाल उठाए जा रहे हैं कि जब राहुल गांधी का इंटरव्यू होता है तो तत्काल इलेक्शन कमीशन कार्रवाई करते हुए FIR करने का निर्देश दिया जाता है, न्यूज चैनल्स पे राहुल गांधी को नोटिस इशू किया जाता है, लेकिन जब सरकार के नुमाइंदों की बात आती है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन बैठक पे आता है और ये कहता है कि अभी विचार किया जा रहा है, तो ये इस आरोप को आप कैसे करें?
See, I would like to inform you that yesterday in the morning, a complaint had come in the form of the complaint had come about the interview being showed repeatedly on some channels, and in that we had again, the due diligence was done in the commission, and first of all, I would like to inform you that no FIR has been done against Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He has only been issued a notice under Model Code of Conduct, and he has been given 5 days time to state his position. Also, under the RP Act 126, anybody who is displaying such material, election material, in the 48 hours, in respect of that, the Chief Electoral Officer has been directed that in the polling areas, those channels or the electronic media which has been displaying this, the action to be taken against that, which is under consideration, and what we know that this matter is being.
फैसला कब तक ले लेंगे? फैसला कब तक ले लेंगे हिंदी में?
The commission will definitely consider the matter and soon let you know what it is.
On the allegations of PM Modi's roadshow, what exactly the situation is now? Whether have you received any formal complaint, and at what stage it is?
Yeah, we have received this complaint in the afternoon, so that is being examined, and we'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you.